Hi everyone, and welcome back to my Build with Maya podcast. In this episode, we're going to meet with the awesome Tim Benniks, my very long time friend, and we are going to discuss about AI and how it changed our workflow and what is expected from us at the moment. Hello, Tim.
We're just talking. It's been a few years that when we actually spoke. We both moved a couple of companies, but now that we just connected, we're basically the same as we were back in the day. It's like a week ago. So that's always good.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so it's kind of fun, right, when we talk about AI because
Mhm.
everybody talks about it. And let's see if we can get it into some realness about it, like stuff that doesn't work, maybe, or
Yep.
maybe if it all just works, we'll see. Let's see how
Okay, let's
pointy
see
your
how that.
questions are.
Okay, but first and foremost, give us some introduction about yourself. Where you are, what you're doing right now, so everyone knows who is Tim Benniks. So I'm pretty sure my audience right there that just check out Tim Benniks on Google right now. You will find that he's very active and he's an awesome guy.
Okay, so let's see. So I work at Content Stack, which is one of those content platforms that started as a headless CMS, but now does a bunch of other stuff. And there I'm in charge of developer experience. And so that kind of means is like how to not make developers annoyed when they use our stuff. So I build all our SDKs, CLIs, MCP servers, AI skills, learning materials. So it's not really DevRel. I'm actually in a product team. So, for example, our MCP server is a real product where we have all the things that products do with interfaces to whatever. We can talk about that later, I guess. But the interesting thing is I came at this job from a very different angle than most people because I'm basically just cosplaying being a product person. I'm just a developer. And so we'll just figure out how that works. And I come from like a 25-year history of building websites for big companies at agencies. And then over time, I somehow moved into, building the products that we used to use to build the websites or the apps or whatever. And so I'm really from the builder angle, if that makes
Wow.
any sense.
Well, at least for me, it makes a lot of sense. I remember your first talk on Vue.js that I saw, right?
Ooh, this is
Vue.js
a long time
Amsterdam.
ago.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I remember you talk about one of the very big client. I wouldn't say anything because of
I think
the
we can talk
you
about
know.
it,
Oh
actually.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
because I
called
remember like
L'Oreal.
you told me that cannot mention the name afterwards, so it's like kind of funny.
You know what? It was different. Like we were allowed to talk about L'Oreal, which is the brand, and
Uh,
so we built like their website factory, which at that time was the biggest Vue.js implementation globally. I think
mhm.
we did, I don't know, 800 websites or something with Vue.js and all the fun stuff around it. But when I did the talk, I did memes, a lot of memes. And so these memes were about L'Oreal type things where you would see, I don't know, like mythical creatures like Thor, but then with L'Oreal hair,
Oh
like all this
yeah.
really fun stuff. And turns out there were people from L'Oreal in the audience texting their bosses with the pictures, and they loved it
Ah,
because developers understand memes, right?
right,
But
right.
their bosses did not understand the memes and thought I was making fun of them. And like it couldn't be any different. It was really nice.
Mm,
And
mhm.
so I had a few discussions with some higher ups in L'Oreal. But in the end, it was all fine because it was a super positive talk, right?
But look, that's exactly. I mean, in the old time, when you do something like that, you do it manually, right?
Oh, that was
And
very manual. Like,
yeah, and
holy moly.
now think about it. Now if you now you have the same thing, but with AI. I don't think they will have the discussion whether you're allowed to do it anymore because AI do it anyway, right? Who will
Yeah,
have a
but
problem right now?
I don't even know. Like, if people in our space, you probably know about a company called Optimizely. They have like
Right.
CMS, but also like personalization stuff, and they just rebranded. So the
Um.
Optimizely website has like this super fresh, young look. It's actually very nice. And the first thing all my colleagues did, because they're our competition, right? It's like, oh,
Right.
that looks like a soda pop brand. And then we all went into our AI tools and made commercials for Optimizely, like you were holding like a Coca-Cola can, but with Optimizely branding. And it
Uh-huh.
looks so good. It is like super convincing. And the AI understood their whole marketing messaging, the typography, the whole thing. And we were able to make like super high level fake commercials for them. This
Wow.
AI is crazy. I'm not sure, like,
Yeah.
we're not sharing this stuff. It's just a bit of fun. This is nothing
Mm.
official, but it's
Wow. I
crazy what it
agree.
can do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I play with ChatGPT, just do a small, I think,
Mhm.
video and stuff. No, I Gemini, and it's like, it blew my mind. It's really great. I mean, it's not exactly the final production quality like a Hollywood movie or something, but it's
I'll wait for
fun
it.
to see.
It's close.
Yeah,
But like you can use it if you use how to if you know how to use it and what its flaws are, you can get quite close. Like my
yeah.
last talk, no, it's 2 talks ago at one of these conferences that I did was about I used to make videos with high production quality, fancy cameras and everything. And I didn't get that many views anymore. So then I decided, you know what, I'll just talk to my doorbell.
Hmm.
And that worked really well. But this was without AI, right? So I would talk to my doorbell, try for my doorbell to record me reliably, then get it off. Hopefully it works, and then edit it. And it feels like a video I just walked up and recorded and then put on LinkedIn or Twitter. But it was a lot of work. So then I decided, what if I just make avatars that are Tim from 5 or 6
Ah.
different runs that I would walk up or I would
Mm-hmm.
drive with my car and then I would talk to my camera
Mm-hmm.
and then I would walk in the house or make a joke or whatever. And I used AI to stitch all that stuff together. So the me driving in with the car and walking up is real. And
Oh
then
yeah,
me
I saw
speaking to
that.
the camera is fake. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I go in, it's real again. And I did
Wow.
6 or 7 of those. And then I used, oh, no, what did I use? I used Cloudinary, which is the media delivery
Oh.
company, to get the intros and this and everything and put it together into one video and put an overlay to make it look extra ugly because it's a doorbell. I fooled people for like 6 months. And every video I did, I just typed the prompt. It made me the video, uploaded it for me, and everybody
Wow.
thought it was real. So if you
Wow.
know the drawbacks, and I purposely made it look ugly with Cloudinary. I added a
Mm.
filter on top. I did an audio filter to make it sound bad. Everybody thought it was my doorbell.
I saw the video and it was
It's
something
like
like
it's me.
it's,
And so there's one that I
yeah.
woke up with my dog or with like some bread or whatever. It just works. And so
Wow, wow.
you have to use the tools and know what they can do and then combine them with other tools. And then you have something.
On that part, so when we talk about that kind of like combining different tune in order to get what you want, right?
Hmm.
So let's talk about. So what do you see how your work change with it? How that help you in your working day?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one because in my day to day, I tend not to code as much anymore because I'm more of like somebody who's in product and leading a bunch of teams. But the thing is, I get my strength and knowledge from coding,
Mm,
which means if I don't code, I don't know it. And so, but also that also means like I don't have time to output whatever is in my product brain now. And so I
mm-hmm.
started to realize if I code more or five more, whatever you want to call it, all these ideas that I have, I don't have to write them down. I just build them and then show
Right.
them. And so it actually, I'm quite senior in this whole position. And all the people my level, so similar to you basically,
Mm-hmm.
we sleep less now because all the product ideas we have in our brain, we can just build it. Like right now, I have agents running, building stuff for me. I work on 6 projects at the same time to figure out if something works, yes or no. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We have like all these CLI things we need. And
Mm-hmm.
so our CLI is now sort of a plug and play system. So you can just make plugins to extend the core of our CLI because this is a platform that can do a bunch of stuff. And so recently we had to build something to, migrate from one system to another
Mm-hmm.
or translate a website or whatever. And sometimes you want to do that with AI and that works really well with the CLI, right? And so now rather than thinking deep, long and hard and making one product description and figuring out this is probably the right thing, let's build it for 3 months and see. I just built 7
And then
and
you
then we
like,
try, we give it
okay.
to everybody, and then we choose. So choosing is now harder than building. And I
Mm,
combine all matters of things. Like if I want to build a new thing, I just go into one of our AIs that has connections to the tools that are allowed for my work, right? So we have a Salesforce connection, we have a Slack connection, we have an Atlassian connection, Google, and I just talk with my agent to figure out the issues our customers have with our support, with our Jira threads about problems for certain things like our CLI. And then
Mm,
from that, I kind of just make a little prompt or a spec of what we could build. Then I just build it. If we like it, I make a product specification and I give it to the team. And sometimes the team just takes my work and say, "Oh, we go to production," because I've been doing this long enough to know if it's good or not.
mm.
Right? But you see,
So
you can combine all the stuff and run.
So this is actually a very interesting way of viewing the things because
Mm.
we're talking about vibe coding, right? And everyone will kind of say AI slop and
It
saying that
can be
the
very sloppy.
yeah, and then everyone will like the quality is low. I agree with that at some point,
Mm.
but when you say about the fact that we actually can do something fast like a prototype and validate our thought much earlier than when we
Oh yeah,
spend like half a year to do that,
hundred
that is
percent.
something that really different, right?
I
And
think the model is going to have to change a lot. Like, imagine you're
mm,
an ad agency, right? Right now, you get new work based on the history you had with all your companies you build ads for, or websites for, or campaigns for. And so, if you're a new agency, you will not get any jobs unless you schmooze with your potential customers or give them some drinks or whatever, right? What I
yeah,
think we should do is, now that building is so cheap, if you have clever ideas for brands you want to work for, just make the ideas, do it. Just make
right,
for 6 brands the ultimate website, the ultimate app, the ultimate copy, whatever, and just say, "This is my portfolio of stuff we think works for your brand really well. Why don't you just buy us?" It's very
right,
different, right?
right.
So
It's very different.
I'm really focusing on, if I have some sort of customer asking us stuff, or a developer about something that's complicated, or they want something specific, I just say, just build it.
Mm,
And then you can just, if it breaks, fix it with AI. Like, the thing is, we give you an SLA, as in, this is whatever we support for you
mm-hmm,
on the tooling that we give you. We give the tooling as best as we can, and you just build with it. Like,
right.
our CMS is built for 1,000 users. All have to do different things, right? But it kind of works for 1,000. But what if your
Mm-hmm.
company wants to do it for a very specific thing? Are you going to just ask me to build a feature just for you? No, I'll just give you the tool so you build it for yourself. Right? It's very
Right.
different.
It's like my company is doing, right? It's like has less 360. I mean, so you technically give the CLI, give the API to the customer, and they will either they're using your product like a final solution you already built, or they can go and build their own custom solution, and you still
Exactly.
provide them.
But it's a really
That's
interesting concept, right? Because we have, for example, an MCP server. But I
mm,
made the decision to put the tools for the MCP server as like JSON on an
mm,
API, which means our MCP server, if it's a stdio package like npm, or
uh-huh,
if it's a one on a URL, it just goes to that API, gets the tool definitions, and runs. Which also means the people that use it can go to our tool definitions, make their own MCP with their own tools
right.
on top, with their own authentication into their own company that we don't have to know about. So everything has to be headless, everything has to be modular, because I don't think people will be buying agent type things from companies. They'll have their own agent stuff that then just uses everybody's tools.
Well, but in the other hand, do you think it make it things become more complicated now? Because let's say everyone can build things faster, right? Everyone can write tests or
Mhm.
write code faster, making document making new products faster. Let's put aside that whether or not that's go according to the quality. But now the thing is, where do we stand in that? Like, how do we make sure that everything that work with AI are under control, and
Mm.
then we know whether the customer is using it the correct way. Let's say one day they will throw at us some investigation ticket, and because they were using our headless API to do something with AI, and it doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
How would that? Yeah. So how do we know it's our problem, their problem, or I don't know, someone else's problem?
To be honest, you just described a 20-year-old problem. It's just exposed now, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
I would
yeah,
say you can roll your own quite a lot for the last 20, 30 years. And then sometimes you're mature enough to roll your own and be happy. Sometimes after 4 years, you're like, oh boy, I should never have done this. It's very expensive now. It doesn't work. Remember back in the day when we did all the cloudinary stuff? A lot
yeah.
of people made image optimization and rolled their own and were kind of happy with it.
Oh
And then
yeah,
realized they
yeah.
kind of had to buy cloudinary because it's just 1,000 times better, right? So, and but then the more mature companies again might still do their own. And so the same with
Right.
AI. Like I would say for companies where I work at, where we have all these services that we build, every service on its own needs to work autonomously and people can just
Mhm.
use it the way they want. The more mature they are, the more they can abuse it and it still works. But that's only for those people who are extremely experienced doing their own thing. But you also have to offer something packaged up for the rest of the people. And now with AI, we have to figure out how packaged up that has to be, right? Maybe we want to
Right.
offer them a little bit more separated so the AI can just combine. But you and I probably both have seen people fibbing, not knowing what it is to build something. And so
Mhm.
then you might take all these things and then even though you think you did a great job, you're still storing some password in a database that's not encrypted or some crazy thing, right? That happens. I had it happen yesterday to some of my code where
Oh,
but the thing is, I know that it shouldn't happen, so I can check for it.
right.
And
So
so
it's
everybody has to upskill though, to be fair. If
yeah.
you want to be
So
better
you
at fibbing, you have to be a better developer. I'm
but then
sorry.
again, but if you start with AI, let's say you're a
Mhm.
junior and you start with AI wrote everything. They wrote very confident, right? How
Yeah.
you able to learn about it? Like you said before, and we are engineer, we have code in our
Yes.
head,
I dream it.
right? Yeah, it always excited me. Like I have to sit
Mm,
down, validate the idea, start writing code, and then start to learn slowly. It take about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even
yeah.
a month to finish something. But now with AI, I can just like yesterday I just sit there and I work with AI. I say, okay, let's connect to this MCP. Let's do this. Let's plan this project and write down for me the
Mm,
plan and code. And it write the code. And how will be a person that is not familiar with this read the code that they generated and understand exactly where the problem.
I
So
think this is the hardest moment for juniors in history. I think
yeah, yeah.
because I think you what you can do is learn the absolute basics.
Mm-hmm.
As like for example, I had somebody ask me why stuff would constantly go wrong with their npm packages on their desktop because they put all their
Um,
photos on desktop, but they had
right.
iCloud turned on. It was constantly syncing and locking
Oh my
files.
god, that one is one of the basic,
Imagine, but this is
Yeah.
how low we need to go. So think about okay, iCloud is syncing all my npm folders. You know how crazy that is because there's like
Yeah, yeah.
10,000 minuscule files, right? And it's
Oh,
locking that
wow.
all the time. And so when they're running their npm ups, installing and stuff, things change, nothing works. And then they're like, yeah, but why is my hard drive so full? And well, they didn't know their hard drive was full, but things were swapping because
Uh-huh.
it needs memory to run, right? And things would go
Right.
wrong. So we actually have to teach the basics, as in you need some hard drive space to run some code. When you go into the Docker territory, it's even more, right? You have to know that. Then
Right.
also figure out what files are and how they're if they're synced, what's happening. Do you even know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Apple did such a good job that people don't know that iCloud does this. That's how good of a job they did, right?
Yeah.
And so if you go to the absolute basics of this is a folder and you might want to deal with that like your artifact, so it needs a bit of space. You cannot lock the files and your code needs to have write access to it. Like those basics. And then it's maybe just time. Maybe do it like 100 times and it gets a bit better. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I've noticed this already. For example, I had a whole bunch of documentation for some of my open source stuff. And then LLMs didn't really understand it. And I had to constantly do projects to update docs and stuff for LLMs to start understanding, right? So you did the work to make it better. But it took a long time. And now LLMs got so much better that I didn't have to do that work because it just understands the docs now.
Right.
So if you look at that parallel, maybe in a year when you write some code, you don't need to know if it's good or not because it's just good, right?
Well,
Your
but then
artifact is no
it's
longer code. Like look at all the IDEs now, all the editors, except VS Code. Everything is just agents, right? You type in them,
right.
right? If you look at Cursor or Claude Code or all of them, like
Yeah.
Codex, it's actually agent management. Your artifact is no longer the code. Your artifact is how you talk to the agent,
Right. It's the history of
right?
what you talk and on the
Exactly.
document that they keep
And
on the
this
instruction is
transformed.
the
Like, look back in the history, right? When we wanted to compile a PNG image back in the day, you had to understand how that would work. Now it's just a
right.
PNG image, right? Same with video. Now you just have VLC. It just plays it. You don't have to know all the crap
Mhm.
that goes behind that. It just works,
Oh,
right?
but then it's like you say, it's hard for juniors to actually learn. So what
But it was
exactly?
always hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, even without AI, the junior always hard to. They always
Yeah.
have to learn a
Imagine.
lot.
Actually, let's rephrase. Now that you're saying this, it might be easier now to learn because back in the day, we went to Stack Overflow, ask a
Uh,
question, get ridiculed, hopefully find an answer from some dickhead, sorry for the words, that thought they
figure
were
out.
better at it, and then
Yeah.
tells that to you, and then it's really hard to learn because the only way to learn is like to Google or have a senior person next to you. Now,
Mhm.
at least, if you're a junior that really wants to go fast and do a lot of cool stuff, just ask your AI what it did and why.
But then they really need to read the why.
Yes.
Like they need to actually proactive to ask AI to explain what it is doing. Because let's say if I just say implement this feature for me and then I go ahead and
Make
put
no
a
mistakes.
PR, make no mistake. Oh, add some tests. Make sure that all the tests are green.
Mhm.
I have some example on that. Actually,
Yeah.
a couple months ago, someone also opened a PR, and the funny thing is the whole PR was generated by AI, and then all the comment answer was done on AI. So literally,
Yeah,
whenever
so
I put a
nobody cares
comment,
anymore. They
yeah.
don't even want to
So,
read.
but the funny thing, I will review it myself manually and I write a question and the answer I get back is an AI answer that the
Oh
person just
no.
copy pasted inside.
Ima-
And I'm like, my
this
God,
cannot
it's
work, right?
hard.
It cannot
Yeah,
work.
it's not going.
Like
Yeah.
our friend Alvaro, who's doing Trash.js, the Vue.js 3D stuff. He's been
Yeah.
very successful with it. And now he gets like 100 PRs a day that
Oh
are
my God,
this
that's
long,
oh
all from AI. Then they answer something, and then the answer is also an AI, but it's in a loop. And so he just stopped looking at PRs because it's just all crap. And so
yeah.
there are some tricks I think you can do. Like I never let AI do a PR for me. I let it do
Mm,
the code and then I will commit myself. I don't want my commit message to be Claude or something. This is
mm-hmm,
me, right? Because I did
mm-hmm,
the code. But then also I always do before I commit anything, I said, please can you do an audit of this code? Explain to me what you did. Explain to me if it was dry, so like do not repeat yourself. Explain if it
uh-huh.
was concise, if you had any weird patterns, is it accessible? Is it lazy loading images? Like whatever. I
Mm,
always do that for everything. And it always finds stuff that it was broke itself or wasn't that
yeah.
good.
And then you were like, why didn't you do it in the beginning, right?
Because they're just like humans in that
Yeah.
context.
Right.
Maybe I kind of like, luckily between you and I, we have the experience to work with more junior people, right?
Right.
I treat the AI like I have a bunch of junior people in my team and I have to tell them what to do.
Yep.
And so I speak to it like a human, like how let's say, if you explain to someone to do a fetch call, but they don't really know what that means, you give them a few pointers of what it means to do a fetch call and what to watch out for, like course errors or, is it a post or a get? So when you brief a junior person, you give all this extra, right? Why don't you do that with an AI? Because it's like a junior person, but their IQ is like 3,000 and they never stop.
Actually,
right?
on that matter, I would say that I will have to slightly disagree with you.
Oh, here we go.
Well, actually, my husband will be likely disagree with you. He told
Okay.
me like this: working with AI is like you're working with a junior, your junior who never learned.
That's also possible because, but
Yeah.
then you have, if a junior never learns, but it's not a human, you have not prompted it right. If a
Oh,
junior
he
never
say,
learns because they're just not a fun person or they don't understand things and they don't want to learn, that's different. If
yeah,
it's a human, it's very
yeah.
different.
But
Maybe the analogy dies
he
here.
say he say that it's like a junior never learn and never remember anything more than 5 minutes. It's like a goldfish, but it's worse than a goldfish. And I'm like, but
I
it's
don't
like
think I want him
human.
to be my boss.
We were kind of joking about the why AI and junior developer are pretty similar. So why we complaining about working with
Well,
AI?
let me tell you it like this. If a junior person has fixed a bug, right? They
Mm-hmm.
always say, I fixed the bug. If a
Debug, yeah.
senior person fixes a bug, it says, I fixed a bug in a system of things. So if you
Wow,
see that,
that's
you see how
actually
different
true.
that is?
Yeah,
Because if you
yeah.
fix the bug, it means you don't have an overview of whatever else can happen, right? You haven't actually
Right,
taken a
right,
helicopter view, take it apart and look. And
right.
so a senior person will know that it's not a singular bug. It's probably an
Okay.
orchestra of breaking stuff that you fix maybe with luck or with some intuition, but you don't really always know. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is how AIs confidently say I fixed the bug, and then you run it again and it's just broken. That's the same
Wow.
thing. So you have to give it overview. So I literally tell my AI sometimes, okay, this is not working. Please take a step back, audit what you're doing, look at all the moving parts. Why is this thing failing? What is this that I'm seeing? And sometimes it works. It depends on the model. Like when I do
Mm-hmm.
that with Opus 4.8 or Fable, if it ever comes back, perfect. It always does it. But when I do it with, let's say, Composer 2.5 from Cursor, it doesn't always find that. It depends on
I
how
stopped using
reasoning
it.
they are,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. But I kind of think that they also heavily depend on us because
Yes.
we the one who give it the context and we are the one
Yeah.
who define how it works. So the model, yeah, it will probably there's a jump between Opus and Sonnet and Fabulous. I haven't tried, so I don't know. But
Oh, I tried it
I
for three
think that
glorious days.
good for you. I was like, okay, let it cool down a bit. I'm taking a step back.
Oh, that's
I
actually
have a
smart.
baby, so yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just
So
cool
you
down
should do
first, and
more
then
AI. You have the baby, and then you let your agents just go in a loop.
actually, that's exactly what I did.
I
I,
just
I I always try to learn something during my maternity leave, and then this
Yeah,
time,
this is the
I
way.
yeah, this is like much way easier because now I can actually sit there. Nursing my baby and then read what AI generated and either approve or tell it what to do next and then wait later on come back and it's still there and I still can review it. Yeah, in a way it does make us more productive.
Yeah, especially if you can do it at five at the same time.
Yeah,
But
but
imagine
again,
the
let's
opportunity, right, for ads because you do something, you have to wait.
right.
Your terminal is going to show
Right.
ads next year. While you wait, it's going to show you ads, I'm sure.
Or say, do you want to order this, a little this
Exactly.
under there?
Yeah,
but
watch this
but
video to get more tokens. Oh my God.
oh my god, we're getting there. No, there you go. We're getting to the YouTube ad right now with the
Exactly.
token on.
But I think
No,
Anthropic won't go there.
no, I don't know. Maybe maybe what they will have to go there in order to keep the token battle down for them. Because right now
Exactly.
it's become more expensive. So
Exactly.
anyway, let's go back to the thing we talk about productive, right? So
Hmm.
I mean, now we can put like fire agent running in the background. What do you really think that will become real productive, or that we become a bit slower? We have five context switch right there because we have to all the time reviewing
Mhm.
different things, and the agent like to talk. I mean, not like to talk, like to write. So it usually go up for you the whole week they report a long report, and then you read every single
Yeah.
thing and try to understand what it is. Do you think that the productive in the old sense still works in this case? What kind of how are we going to make sure that we are still productive here, especially here with all the AI generated code, 100 PRs? How our team can keep up with this level?
I think the key word that you just mentioned is team. Because what I
Yeah,
see is singular people have 100x themselves, especially when they're senior. Like I'm
yeah,
one of those where I just put on the gasoline and it never stops anymore because I know what I want to build. I just go. But the moment you put it in a team context, it's very different, right? You cannot
right,
overwhelm each other with, oh, this was my prompts, my way of doing this thing, because you have to
right,
have it all together. And so if you
hmm,
have a team that just has Jira tickets with security issues or something, you can just run, right? This is quite easy.
right,
But the moment you start building features, this whole coding on something together gets quite a bit harder. This is true. And I don't think
hmm,
we know yet how to really do it. Because, for example, where I work, we have teams that work on legacy stuff because that exists, right? And
hmm,
then in legacy stuff, you see different patterns emerge. Like every year, you find a new thing that works better. So you now work that way. And
right,
so when you have a bigger team that all have agents that work on this bigger code base with all these different patterns and you don't set it up correctly,
hmm,
agent A might get pattern that's 2 years old, and the other agent, agent B, might take a newer pattern that's great. And so it explodes in different approaches of how to build something, and it gets worse. So AI actually exposes the quality of what you're working on. And if everybody has their own little me setup with my skills and my things, it just gets worse. And so that's the next thing to fix.
So you're saying that because of AI, we actually need to communicate more,
Yes,
and it's more
100%.
important to work as a team than working as individual, even
Exactly.
though we can sit there and just not talk with anyone, talk with AI and work. But
100%.
yeah,
Because it AI works so fast that it exposes the things that are not of high quality. It
hmm,
also exposes people who don't know how to choose. Like it's now your
right,
taste, right? What you
yeah,
release is your taste. Like we always had this interesting bottleneck where, well, there were multiple bottlenecks, right? First was production. So we would hire all these Silicon Valley people to produce more and more, higher salaries, run. And then you had the more senior portion of that, the decision makers, the VPs of engineering, like, this is good. This goes through. I've reviewed this. I know this will work because if 1 million developers now uses this API, we know it will work. Those were
right,
special people, right? But
right.
everybody below that builds is becoming less special, I guess, because it's just easier to build now. And so all these people are either being laid off or being forced to become decision makers of what is good. And that is
But
really hard.
but
Not
then
every
it's
developer is that, right?
right. That's also mean because of all of this. So junior have to learn more and to learn faster and
Yeah.
to be able to upscale the skill faster. But in the other hand, because we don't need this layer that much because we have a bunch of junior AI that running in the background. So how are we going to find the next decision maker in the team?
Yeah, that's
And
really hard. So you're
yeah,
focusing almost more on senior people,
mm-hmm,
and these people can do more now. Like it's really challenging, right? And
mm-hmm,
so the thing is though, as a junior, you're right now you're still okay. Because let's say
mm,
you finish college, right? You're gonna go into your first job. If you're AI native ish, you're really
mm,
curious, you figure things out, you will land that job. If you're not, you're
right,
screwed, right? So people have changed the way they look at resumes now and look at people how they would like, but that's only like this year,
mm.
right?
We don't know about next year
Then
though.
next year it's different again. Like this year, you can land the job because at your job application or they give you a task or something, you used Claude in a clever way. Or you
Right,
see how can I automate things. It's like if you can see patterns, you're just gonna get a job.
right, right.
And it's just seeing the patterns and understanding the optics of how it looks when you do it, and you just explain what you did to people.
If the skill of problem explanation, communication, and let's say problem solving, understanding the problem and explaining it. So this skill is also what juniors have to master as fast as they can, like how
But
to
they
work
have to
with
do
other
that
junior.
anyways. It just like,
They
I think it's
do.
literally the same problem as 10 years ago. It's just faster.
Oh yeah, it
Don't you
actually
think the
when you
junior
think
needs to learn to play the optics, to show what they're doing, to learn to present, to learn to write a sentence? Like all those things still happen, but your A does it for you. But if the AI does it in a crap way,
hmm
it's
then
it's
you
the same. So
do
you still have the same process. You just have really cool tools to help you to do the process
why.
better. Have you
But
seen? Go on your LinkedIn and see all the posts. Most posts are written in such poor AI slop
oh my
that
god,
I
no.
am I am so upset. I don't read anymore. If
Wait,
these people,
don't let me start with that.
I know, right? But if you take 2 minutes to understand that nobody wants to read your slop, and make a skill that has your voice, because you have a history of 20 years of whatever Jira tickets that you wrote, whatever, find your voice and then write it again, then you're good. And people who
Right.
are now coming in that are new, they have much more sensibilities for that. Because our generation, the old people basically, we're like, oh, that's a magical tool, let's run. We don't
Right.
refine it.
Yeah, well,
And
that's what
so
I
if you're a
used in the
youngster,
beginning.
you will. You have much more
Yeah, yeah.
sensibilities of modern technology and what you can do with it, even though you don't really know the basics. Like for us, we know how this phone works, right? Because we've built
hmm
the basics of it. That's why when you click record, you wait a second, because back in the day it wouldn't record sometimes,
yeah, it had to be
right?
like five
That's us.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so newcomers don't have that because it just works. But
right.
that means there's much more time to refine the details. I think it's fine. I don't really see a big problem. But I'm coming from privilege, I have to say. I work at
Well,
a company that allows me to use AI. I'm a white dude with a beard who has enough money to actually try these things. I'm in a job where I have to use it. So I do know this.
well, in the other hand, I want to say I'm not in privilege, so I actually can say something, right?
You can probably say a bit more than me on that angle for sure.
Yeah, I'm a woman, and I'm from the minority, and I'm just lucky that I work for corporate where, well, Microsoft is the first one that's go with Copilot, so I had the chance to try Copilot very
Oh,
early,
yeah,
working with
exactly.
AI so early. And yeah, it's some sort. I do have some favorite here, but in the end, it always comes down to how much work are you willing, how much hard work are you putting inside it. So
Yeah.
if I stay in a company that doing AI, and I have a chance more than anyone else to learn about it, to interact with it, but I didn't do it. Like I just used the chat, and I didn't learn about how to use it as agent and how to your workflow. Then I will still fail. I mean, I will still not getting uh, the privilege that I'm enjoying it. So
Yeah.
I still need to learn more. I mean, now it's much easier to learn. When I start my new jobs, and I wanted to do some tools, and usually it would take me months because I have no idea how to work with Python, how to work with Linux, and how to write
Yeah.
script that do this, the simulator and stuff like that. I asked Copilot what to do, and it gave me the script. It's not perfect, but it tell exactly to
Yeah.
me like how help me to set up. And I launched a tool within like 3 days.
There you go.
Then yeah, and then it actually validates my thought that okay, this tool does have a lot of people going onboarded faster. It
It's all possible. Like the thing
yeah.
is though, what I'm seeing is like sometimes I feel like people want to go too agentic,
Mm-hmm.
as in you just tell your agent to spin off 20 other agents and do the things, right? But then when that goes wrong just even 1 or 2 degrees, it just goes wrong really fast and
Yeah.
really far, right? So what I tend to feel like, if you want to help people build software, I tend to want to build really good tooling for them that helps them to
Mm,
scaffold a base that is so good that the AI can just read that base and then move from there. which is less
Right.
agentic, right? It's more like I'll give you a tool that gets you like 20, 30% there with a skill and an agent's MD inside. And then let your agent look at the pattern and explain it. And then you say, I want this. But like if you use where I work, right, we have an OAuth thing. What if I just gave you a starter kit that has an OAuth in it already? Then the agent doesn't have to learn how your specific OAuth login actually works and how the redirect rules work, because that's the stuff that always fails. But what if you just give somebody a CLI that the agent can say, scaffold me a website with like a few answers. I want this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're 30% there. Your localization already works or whatever. Then you can just literally free prompt and it just builds it.
Yeah,
Right. But then juniors
that
learn
sounds like
even
a.
less, but we're going to go in this direction, right?
But then
What do you
again, they don't need to learn the things that is not that critical for them to learn. I mean,
Well,
things like a scaffolding, you probably need to learn how to set up the npm package, need to learn
yes,
how it
of course.
works, but you don't really need to literally sit in there and try to set it up, run in the package, release the package. Like, it's so hard. You need to remember to add this package for changelog. You need to add this one in order for that to generate
Yeah,
the
I do this
release
daily.
note.
It's
Wow.
horrible. So I want to. Okay,
Yeah.
I know our time is flying. Let
Yeah.
me say this and see how we feel about it, because maybe that junior problem might only be a problem for now, for this year and next. Because
Mm.
remember, if we wanted to do a fetch call, right, to get something with an API, we called it XML HTTP request. Remember that thing back in the day where
Yeah.
you had to
Yeah.
go write this JavaScript that's 300 lines
Oh
to
my
say
god.
this is the header like this. I want to have it get and I want to do this, and like it was like a long thing we had to write to be able to
Yep.
do a fetch call. Then jQuery came and called it an AJAX call, right? That was
Right.
10 lines. Then over time they added promises to it, so it was like a two-liner. And then the
Right.
native fetch came out, and that now also works on Node.js, and now it's literally 4 words. So we went from
Right.
300 lines to 4 words in like 10 years.
Good.
Nobody ever needs to know how that fetch call works,
Mm-hmm.
because it's still this XML HTTP request 300 line thing under the hood in the V8 JavaScript engine. Nobody
Well,
needs to
if you
know
have
that.
to work inside that, you have to know. But
Yes,
normal
but do
people,
you?
they don't need to.
Probably not.
No, probably not. Unless I work in, let's say, try to improve the performance of the
Of course,
network
but
or
those are
stuff.
specialized jobs.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if that's our parallel, and now with
Mm-hmm.
AI it's all going faster, maybe we don't need to know all that stuff. Maybe we don't have to understand NPM. It's like security leak like a bucket right now. Maybe in 2 years somebody vibes a better NPM because it's so bad right now. Like we can think bigger now that we have these tools. And so maybe leave it to the specialist to build all that crazy stuff. And you just have to have the product knowledge of what you want to do. Let's say you're a junior, you come to a job and you try to have a helicopter view of what this product does that I'm working on, right? Or what is this project for a customer, for a client, whatever, open source. Just think what would be awesome for this to have. And then you just
Mm-hmm.
without knowing how that all that crap works. So we're focusing much more on the vision that you have versus how you get there, because who cares how you got there? Maybe in a year these models are so good nobody cares how you got there.
Well, the truth is, let's say in front end, the web, we're moving so from one framework to another one so fast
Yes.
that you remember, like we talk about jQuery and then we talk about Ember and then we talk
Oh
about
yeah.
AngularJS, and look, now we're in React, Vue, and Next.js. And who know what comes next,
Then
right?
Remix came
So
and went. It's insane.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So hey, so that's actually a good closure for our recording today. But I just want to make one last question for you before
Sure.
we finish. So, with all of this discussion, what skill do you think that matter most for senior tech lead, developer advocate? Because you have so much experience of different angles, so
Mm, the
that will be,
skill,
yeah. Hmm?
communication, 100%. And that is different. There are different forms of this, of course, but I think it's a combination of how you can communicate either with AI or without, probably without.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
how you can play the optics game a little bit of showing what you've done and why and how that worked. Even though that might sometimes feel a little bit shallow, you have to do it,
But in a
especially
way,
now
we are
that
sinner, right? We have to do it
we
that
have
way.
to. And so it's communication for sure. And then having a bit of vision for something, have an opinion that actually kind of works, and that only happens by failing 1,000 times like I have,
Yeah, so being
right?
opinionated
Have an
about
opinion
things.
on something that comes from you trying stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If you now like, I know your history with like where you worked at Cloudinary, because I use that so much. I now have opinions on this, and that having that opinion made me the person that knows this stuff. So people ask questions. So I could
Mm,
communicate, I could do conference talks, I can do make the AI videos with it. And now I advanced my career fourfold just because I had an opinion on Cloudinary.
right.
Right?
That's the same thing. I mean, now Apton, everything come down to one thing that we actually doing the same thing that we do before. Just now that we have a new tool that make us be able to do faster.
Exactly. It's just
And
more of the same. And
yeah,
I
more
think
the
I
same.
want to say for you, like this podcast is the proof of that growth, right? You're
Yeah,
communicating. This is the whole thing. You're
right.
literally the point of my story. There you go.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm sitting here. I'm making a podcast. I'm
Yeah.
communicating about a different angle of AI. I still have to nurse a baby, and I have an agent running and trying to do
It,
some project with me.
how about that? This thing, like I have this so often. Like my wife asks me, "Why are you working again? Like let's just go out." It's like no, but if I do this, I will have my next job secured in 2 years. And I've done it so often now that I kind of know that cycle. Not that I want to
Yeah,
leave in 2 years, but you have to jump on this thing to get this opinion, to get the experience. And you doing this might get you working at the Syntax podcast next. I don't know, whatever I'm saying. Doesn't matter. But it's interesting, right?
yeah, interesting. And or maybe we just add another skill in your bucket.
Yes.
And yeah, learning is always good. Learning is always make sure that we ready for whatever come for us. So that's it. Thank you so much, Tim. This is a very nice episode, and I
Yes.
hope the audience, whoever listening to us, you also get some insights from our conversations. Whether you agree with that or not, I hope you agree with it. If you don't, I also want to hear. We also want to hear what your takeaways from here and what you don't agree. So feel free to shout out to us on LinkedIn or to comment with us. And if you like this podcast, hit the subscribe button. And again, AI is a tool. What we need to do now is we need to keep learning. It's an interesting period. Anyways, communications is always the most important soft skill for engineer to move forward. And thank you so much for joining.
Cheers.